As you and I know about the cybersecurity law, the levy in between, Nigerians had a lot to say. CSOs even went as far as suing, for that decision and all the conversation that has ensued. Anyway, a brief update is that President Bola Tinubu has asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to suspend the implementation of the controversial cybersecurity levy policy and ordered a review. That review, like my guest would say, on the line. Anyway, the CBN had issued a circular mandating all banks, mobile money operators, and payment service providers to implement a new cybersecurity levy following the provisions laid out in the Cybercrime, Prohibition, Prevention Amendment Act 2024. Now, according to the Act, a levy amounting to 0.5% of the value of all electronic transactions will be collected and remitted to the National Cybersecurity Fund, overseen by the Office of the National Security Advisor. Now, what does this cyber security law entail? How expensive is maintaining a cyberspace? If it comes down to paying for protection against cyber attacks, who should be taxed? These are the questions my guest would prefer. He is the founder of Nex Hub IT Solutions, which specialize in cybersecurity and IT consultation. He is skilled in network security, data protection, incident response, and risk management. He is Mr. Abba Leneke. Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
Welcome to the program.
Nice meeting you and
nice to have you on the show.
Sure.
All right, so let's. A lot of Nigerians have asked the big question without even wanting to understand the law. Like, no, we don't even want to look at it. As long as there's a levy, we don't want to know. But why is it important to protect our cyberspace?
So as easy as we all know, we're becoming a global world in terms of everyone is all going into tech. We're more of a cyber world now. Everybody has a phone, either your information, so we're all basically on the internet space.
Okay.
And if you're on the internet space, you have to look at the fact that on your normal space, if you were to be in your home, security will be needed there. So having your data all up on the online, having to interact with people, having to have your whole work and everything being online, you have to need a key of securing all of that.
Okay.
So to have a case of why we need a law behind in that, or the whole cybersecurity,
yes,
is to protect you from other vices that come with that.
Okay. All right. So that's it. Protection, that's a basic thing, and ensuring that we're protected whenever we access the internet.
Sure.
Through our phones, our laptops, or whatever devices we use. All right. So understanding the cybersecurity law, at least from a professional point of view, coming from a place where since 2015, this law has been there. We're wondering why it took this long for full implementation as called for by the NSA, especially for the part of the levies. But that's on one hand. But Nigerians want to know, even before now, how has the protection helped? Has it done anything? Has it also put us at a point where we can say for sure that the cyberspace within the Nigerian context is protected to a certain level, and what more can be done?
Regarding how effective the Cybercrime Act has been so far, and regarding why it's being implemented now, it's basically the act has been in existence since 2015, and I think that was the first time it was brought into. That was during Jonathan's administration.
That's right.
So, but how far have we gone regarding the Cybercrime Act protecting Nigerians? I feel, yes, it's easier when security is there. You don't know when you're prone.
Yes, right.
Oh yeah, you don't know when you're under any attack or anything, as long as you're protected.
Okay.
But the day we have a major cyber hit, that's when you understand, oh, there was someone behind your protection all through this period.
Okay.
So it's easier for Nigerians to feel, what have they been doing all this while, or what's the implementation process? And I'll have to give it with the security forces regarding the NSA, NFIU, NIA. These are all bodies behind the cyberspace if we're to go on with how the protection goes on.
Okay.
So to an extent, yes, but there's still a better way of them doing it. And to be honest, one way or the other, we still have phishing scams and all that going
Oh,
in.
yes.
And the rate at which it's more of the identity of Nigeria in terms of the Nigerian prince scam.
Okay.
So yes, we still have a long way to go, but for what they've been doing so far, I'll still give them credit on, yes, they're doing a bit much okay.
Now you're talking about the review that the president has asked for. Now, if you're part of that team, what are some of the major reviews you would say that because we also saw a part that said, oh, these are the exemptions, from transactions that will not be charged. A couple of them. Now, if the review comes, definitely he has asked for a review. If it comes aboard and you're asked to, create a form of advice, so what other things would you love to add to it, or even remove or totally squash out? Things they should look out or look into.
Let me start with this. I've tried researching if there's any country I'll see that has any cyber levy attached to their cybersecurity or anything. I haven't gotten any yet.
Oh wow. Okay.
So that stands out in the first instance.
So that should be obvious.
That should be obvious.
Okay.
If the government are going to fund it, or if cybersecurity is a whole huge space that needs a huge funding, it need a lot of skills, and the cost for security is really high.
Okay, sure.
But to charge your own citizens that huge sum of 0.5, it's outrageous, really, really outrageous. I read somewhere that the first CBN report was at 0.005.
That's right.
That was before this government. So I still don't know where the 0.5 came from. I don't get how a 0.005 turned out to be 0.5.
Because that argument was on throughout last
week.
So,
and there were certain people that were still saying 0.5 is still...
It's still 0.005. I didn't get it at some point.
It's basic math. So for them to get to 0.5, they actually had for the memo to come out regarding it being at 0.5. I feel, yes, for them to suspend it, kudos to them.
So if it is at 0.05, would it be okay?
At 0.005?
Yes, at 0.05.
It won't still be okay, but let's see it from the perspective of we are trying to find a good ground of building a solid cybersecurity department regarding that.
Okay.
So, and it will require a huge funding, whether it's coming from the government, whether it's coming from international organizations. If they feel the best way to get the cybersecurity trust fund is to come in with citizens giving it a 0.5, okay, 0.0,
yes,
whatever that is, I think that gives them a little bit point of debate of, yeah, they still have a point regarding that. But if we were to stick on why 0.5, I still see no reason or at any stage where it sounds okay.
Okay. So looking at where Nigeria stands with other countries as it concerns the cybersecurity law, we also got information last week where where people were talking about how, okay, you know what, looking at this particular law, which is good, it's something that Nigeria has been backward about, knowing that this has been there since 2015, but we need full implementation. That's number one. Some other persons who have the opinion that in other countries these things are already full blown, and they mentioned the likes of Ghana already having that in support, and other countries. So where does Nigeria stand with this particular law, and how can we make it better, even as it might just go into full implementation in 2024?
Regarding where it stands, I think where they got the Cybersecurity Act, I think it was a Brexit summit or so that had the Cybersecurity Acts for as long as we're all on the internet space. So I feel whether it affects Nigeria or affects any other country, as long as there's a malicious piece of any attack also, it gives you an access to other things online. So a protection of the whole world, all countries having a strong internet space gives a protection of the whole cyberspace as a whole.
Okay.
But for us, Nigeria as a country on its own, where are we and what stage are we in regarding that? I will have to say we tend to look down on Nigeria at times on things like this, and not to be on the side of the government or supporting it, but to an extent, yes, I feel Nigeria is trying for the stage at which the cyberspace is, but I will come up with the first line I came with. We still need to do better.
Okay.
Regarding countries, Ghana, as you stated, Kenya, Singapore, and all that, it's a whole debate of you don't know their own little vices or how small they are regarding these things unless you're there. We tend to look at our own problems here And I have this statement regarding how our banking system is. I think we still have one of the best secured banking system.
Yes.
Like one of the best secure cyberspace in terms of banking systems in the world.
Yes.
You don't have the case of a high rate of scam compared to what we have in other countries.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why you tend to have the higher scams coming in reports of what they're coming in into Nigeria. So it's more of the proceeds coming into Nigeria. But the rate of scams in Nigerian space, it's though limited, although it's still high.
But just to hold your thought there, you know, there are reports of trillions of naira, you know, that has left the scene or left the shores of this country as a result of scams and, you know, the rest of them, a lot of money. And you've also seen the EFCC boss, you know, come out to complain and, you know, say a lot of things concerning cybercrime issues going on in the country. So when you say, you know, not so much, and then we're looking at the reports, it doesn't correlate. Okay, so maybe you explain more.
Not too much in terms of, it's more of, Nigerian space, it's more of the attacker rather than us being the prey.
Okay, so you're looking at it from that point.
Yeah, so we tend to see more vulnerabilities out there. So I'm making comparison of, let's say in the case of him stating all this, the EFCC boss, is the rate of how Nigerians have had more praise of attacking. So you might have rate of them scamming, whether it's America, whether it's Canada, whatever European country. These are countries you believe
should have some form of security,
a huge security. But then you find it easy that even someone with a little computer skill, they're scamming someone of that. So, and you wonder what's their cybersecurity awareness there. And these are the developed countries. So that's where I'm comparing with Nigeria. Not that I'm saying we're all safe here, we're not, but I'm still saying with the rate at which the developed countries are still scammed, they are still being attacked easily. We've had recently Russian attackers attacking, was it China and all that. Although these are bigger attacks in the sense of that, but they also have their own flaws there. So I still see it on the fact that developed countries are having a huge deficit there. So it's not a comparison of whether we're still good here, but they still have their own lapses. So it's a comparison between Nigeria and other countries in terms of the cybersecurity.
In terms of bringing these people who have been fingered to engage in cybersecurity crime, bringing them to the fore, probably giving them some form of training, and also making sure that they are imputed in the system to help stop cybercrime. What are your thoughts on that?
A criminal is a criminal.
Okay.
So that should be the first.
That should be the first thing. You do not agree that they can somehow help with the system if they are properly trained, educated?
So it's just like us having a debate whether a terrorist should be brought back into the system. Even if, let's say, they were found instances of repentant Boko Harams and all that. On my own end, I won't support that. So put it in that sense. Why will I have a support of you being a criminal telling me a repentant person back into the system? So when we ask for criminal records and all that, these are all flaws that comes with you as a personality. So if you have a problem regarding this, a crime should have its own penalizations rather than rewarding it with a job or trying to revamp them.
So for you, a crime is a crime. They should be put away as quickly as possible. There are people who can still do the job if educated and trained.
Because we have ethical people doing this thing. So why go into the ones that are going in the illegal ways? If Nigeria, it's a huge country with a huge population, with a huge talent. So why choose the ones that are doing it in the illegal way and bring them back into the system?